TEA program, which is the Fulbright Teaching Excellence and Achievement Program for academic cycle 25-26. Just a little bit of gentle reminder for each and every one of you to please keep your microphones muted. And for any questions or comments that you have, you are comfortable or you are free to use the chat feature or even the raise hand function feature. We will have a Q&A session at the end, so please feel free to keep your questions for that. And if you find it comfortable to keep your camera on, you may do so. Right? So my name is Karanjit and I'll be your presenter for today. And over the next hour, we will be introducing you to MACEE Fulbright Malaysia, also the Fulbright program, and as well mainly the Fulbright TEA program. On this call with me today, there's also Ms. Teo Ziem, who's our Fulbright Senior Program Manager here at MACEE, Ms. Lina, which is the Fulbright Program Coordinator for the US programs. Additionally, I'm also very excited to have two Fulbright alums with me on the call today. Ms. Daphne Mildred Lim, who is an alum from academic year 23-24, as well as Ms. Elia Nur Atika, who is the alum for 2020-2021. And they will be sharing their experiences and insights with you today. So as mentioned, that the webinar will conclude with the Q&A session. And for now, I will hand this over to Ms. Ziem to introduce you to MACEE Fulbright Malaysia.
Thank you, Karen. And selamat petang to our fellow teachers. Thank you so much for taking the next 1 hour off your schedule. I think some of you were actually involved in some school activities. But again, our sincere thanks to all of you for being here. I'm not going to take 5 minutes. I hope to do it under 5. I will briefly go through what Fulbright is all about and then what us at MACEE does. So Fulbright started in 1946. That makes Fulbright 79 years as of 2025. And Fulbright is actually the flagship program of the United States for educational and cultural exchange. I know there are other programs out there, but what makes Fulbright stands out is, for me personally, and what we like to say is the accessibility to the Fulbright network. And I'm sure later you will hear more from our alumni who are on this call today. And I think my slide just went missing, but I will keep going. I don't see the slides. Karen, is there something with the slides? Okay, it's back on. And to date, we have awarded more than 400,000 grants. And each year, through the 160 participating countries, Fulbright gives out 8,000 awards. Next slide, please. As for the Malaysian-American Commission on Educational Exchange, otherwise known as MACEE, we are one of the 49 binational commissions set up in 1963 to administer mainly the Fulbright program. What it means by binational is that our board sits 5 American and also 5 Malaysian, and the co-chairs of our board are actually the Minister of Higher Education of Malaysia and the US Ambassador to Malaysia. We only have one mission, and it's very simple. What we do is to facilitate educational diplomacy between the US and Malaysia through what we said, primarily the Fulbright program. And as of now, we have 9 awards that send Malaysian to the US, and we have 3 awards that bring Americans to Malaysia. So the Fulbright TEA program is one of the 9 awards that sends qualified Malaysian to the US, and there are different programs that would be of interest to different groups of people, which then includes scholars, professors, yourself, the teachers. We also have program for professional as well as for students of undergraduate. Lastly, I would like to say thank you to Daphne and Elia for being here with us today to share firsthand experiences of applying to the program, some of the technical questions that I'm sure many of you will have, especially when it comes to leave application and going through the application process. So keep your questions until the end of the session, and then we will open up for our alumni to take on these questions. And for now, back to Karen to take you through the rest of the presentation.
Thank you so much, Z, for sharing a brief information and also a little bit of insight on the program. So let's dive a little bit deeper. We will start first by talking about the participating organizations of the Fulbright TEA program. In ECA, or basically what we call as the Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs of the US State Department, they are the sponsors of the program with the US government that provides the funding for this program as well. So basically, ECA also the function is they oversee the implementation of the program, and they collaborate with IREX as well as US embassies and Fulbright commissions across the globe to select participants for the Fulbright TEA program. Now for IREX, they are actually the provider, or what we say, the administrator of the Fulbright TEA program. So when we say that when we deal with the third party for our Fulbright TEA, IREX would actually be the organization that we deal with. Now, in terms of the function of IREX, they collaborate with ECA, the Department of State, as well as US embassies and Fulbright commissions. Not only that, they also collaborate and work with the US host institutions to administer this program. So besides administering the Fulbright program, they also handle the evaluation, they handle the monitoring, and they also provide participant support to the participants that goes for the program. And in terms of the host institution side, they provide support to the US host institutions as well. So not just in terms of participants and the host universities, they also extend by providing support in terms of managing alumni programming as well. So now we look at the overview of the program. As you got a little bit of gist, probably what this program about is from ZE. The Fulbright TEA program, this is a 6-week non-degree professional development initiative program. So basically it is hosted at a US university. Now, this program has so far provided approximately about 180 secondary school teachers with the opportunity to basically not only, I would say, share knowledge upon the return of the program, but it's also giving them a chance to enhance their experience, enhancing their expertise, and also sharing knowledge. And also if they are in any leadership role, basically strengthening their leadership skills. So as you know that this is an exchange program, so in terms of education, this program is basically catering to fostering improvement in the education between US as well as Malaysia in terms of the environment of the school as well as the community. All right. So we now move to look at the general additional overview of the program. This program, the components are academic. They have a component of general academic seminars, which basically is focusing in terms of academic seminar, the focus will be on teaching new methodologies to participants. And not only that, they dive deeper as well into giving information on lesson planning as well as training. And in addition to all this, this time around, there are cohorts that are specifically created for participants who are interested to join to learn on specifics like gender education, environmental education, and there is a new cohort that is being added on to this academic cycle, which is media literacy. So if you have started your application already and you are interested in joining a special cohort, which is any one of these three that is mentioned, please do read the part of the application on where this cohort is provided, and you will actually provide your information on what are the things that are required if you are interested to join any one of this cohort as mentioned. All right. In addition to that, the program also has a practicum of at least 40 hours, all right? And this will be with a US partner teacher, and this will be when you are assigned to a local secondary school which is near your host university. So in addition to practicum as well and academic seminars, there are many more other workshops and cultural activities that basically will be involved in highlighting your professional development. So now we take a look on the academic program overview of the program. So this program offers customized generalized academic seminars. So it is divided into academic coursework, leadership training, as well as instructional technology seminars. Now I do like to stress here that the participants that go on this program will be engaged in program related activities. So as I mentioned just now, these program related activities will at least be about 40 hours per week. Okay, so every week there will be activities that sums up to at least about 40 hours. So basically, this kind of reflects the intensity of the program and how that your 6 week duration of the program will actually kind of like go by quite fast. Right now, participants or teachers that actually participate in this program are required to participate in weekly seminars that will be hosted by your host university. And when I mean weekly seminars, it could be in a form of presentations, discussions that can take place either by, in between the university staff, or even people may have an invited speaker. There may even be discussions between faculty members. All right. So there are different kind of activities that the host university will organize on a weekly basis. In terms of, I would say, like what are the kinds of topics that they normally cover during these kind of seminars, it will be basically focusing more on the trends and the current issues that are actually taking place in terms of in the field of education. So for example, in terms of curriculum, any learning assessments, any instructional technology or student-centered learning. All right. So just want to highlight that during these seminars that you go for, you are required to share your knowledge and also bring forward the kinds of practices, best practices that you have in your school, or what is the current practices that is being practiced in the Malaysian education system, as well as what is being practiced in your school as well. Okay. Okay, so in terms of the US school placement, there is two parts to this. So teachers who are participating in this program will be placed at a US host university. All right. Now, your host university actually will find you a US school placement. Okay. So during your time on this program, there will be an opportunity for you to visit some schools in the US. And the reason why we find that this component is a quite important feature of the program as well, because it gives the participants a chance to be able to observe the teaching methods as well as how the practices are being used in a US school environment. So normally the host university will find you a school that is near to, or which is kind of like, I would say, located near the campus, and it will be appropriate in terms of your areas of expertise as well. So when you go and join, you not only will be able to observe classes, but you may have an opportunity to co-teach and share your experience as well. So not only would you be able to co-teach, but you'll be paired with a US partner educator as well. So this is really going to open up a couple of areas of you to be able to venture into and to think and also to observe what are the current practices that they have in terms of a school environment. Okay, we now look at the eligibility of the program. Teachers or applicants who are applying for this program must be citizens of Malaysia, and you must be a full-time secondary level school teacher, either teaching in a government-funded or even a private school that basically primarily focus on Malaysian students. Okay, so in terms of subjects, what are the subjects we look at is English as foreign language. So if you're a teacher of these subjects, includes maths, science, or even foreign language subjects, social studies, and we would look at social studies in terms of, like example, those who are teaching geography, subjects like entrepreneurship, or even subjects like journalism, communication, and special education teachers are more than welcome to apply for this program. Now, a minimum of a requirement as well is that participants should have a bachelor's degree, all right? And complete at least 3 years of full-time teaching experience. Now, your teaching experience, of course, I would like to stress, does not involve your uh, experience in your academic year, as in your studies or your qualification, but your teaching experience, all right? And ideally, the minimum requirement is at least 3 years, but if you have more than 5 years of teaching experience, that would be much better, or that is much preferred for the program. Okay. Additionally, we look at also participants that need to reside and work in Malaysia. And for this program, there is also a TOEFL test that is needed, but I would like to also mention here that it is not mandatory for participants to sit and submit a TOEFL score while you are completing your application. It's not mandatory. We at MACEE, we will provide you with a TOEFL voucher, and this TOEFL voucher will only be provided to shortlisted candidates. Okay, so shortlisted candidates will receive a TOEFL voucher. And in order to know the score, if the minimum score would be 450 if it's a paper-based test, and 45 if it's an internet-based test. All right. Okay, so in addition to program eligibility, we also look at participants who basically has the commitment to continue teaching, and of course, upon submitting a complete application. Now, for the duration of the award and stay, as mentioned, that this is a 6 weeks program. So the grant period is a duration of 6 weeks. And this program has an academic term of January 20, two academic terms actually, which is January 2026 or September 2026. Now, please take note that participants applying for this program, you must complete your 6 week of the Fulbright grant at the specified US host institution that is assigned to you. All right. And in addition, grants are activated upon obtaining a valid J1 visa, a valid passport, and also entering United States. J1 visa is the visa that you will receive upon entering, or the J1 visa is the type of visa that you apply for Fulbright when you go on this program. Now, please take note that grants also cannot be postponed to any subsequent academic year. So candidates that intending or cannot go if they have been selected and intend to postpone, sorry, this is not possible, but you will need to reapply for the following year's competition. All right, so we look at award benefits for the program. Now, the TEA program offers a variety of award benefits. One of it is, I mentioned, the J1 support. Now, we will guide you through applying for your visa right from the time that you have already been selected and you have been finalized and given all the documentation. We will guide you and provide you with all the necessary information to apply for your visa. This program also, we will also then have a pre-departure orientation session before you fly off to the US. In addition, this program also provides round trip airfare to and from and also within the US. In addition to that, there is also a chance for you to join a welcome orientation, and this welcome orientation is normally done by the US university that you are assigned to. All right. And another good thing also is that during the duration of the program, now finalists has a chance to join an end of program workshop that it's normally held in DC. So this program also covers that expense for your program, the end of the workshop that you have to travel to DC. In addition to all that as well, finalists will also be able to receive academic program fees, housing and meals coverage, accident and sickness medical coverage, as well as if you are placed in a US school, transportation to local schools if needed, and in addition, a daily allowance for any incidentals during the university academic year. And lastly, any travel allowances. So these are the award benefits of the program. Now, also mention on top of it that this is an exchange program. So the additional benefit that we look at is, of course, a chance to be able to engage in alumni related activities and to broaden up your network. Okay, so now we jump to a little bit of the complex part of it on how to start your application. So if for those of you who haven't started your application, please do so. And you will need to do that by actually logging onto our MACEE website and going on to the Fulbright TEA page, and you will actually have to start your application. Now, this screen here actually shows shows you the screen that when you click on the apply button, you'll be directed to this page where it will be the IREX online application. So the first thing that you will need to do is actually you will need to start a new application. So you will need to click under the new applicant registration. And once you do that, all right, you will be prompted to actually go through the data and the privacy policy. All you need to do is actually read through this and scroll down right at the end of the page, and you will come to a section where it's called the certification section. Under this section, you are required to actually tick off 2 check boxes. Once you do that, only then you'll be able to save, and that allows you to move on to the following section. All right. If you do not click any one of it, you will not be able to move on to the following section. So once you've done that, the following section will actually prompt you to create your account. So this is under this section it's quite straightforward. You will need to key in an email address. So just ensure that the email address that you're using is an active one and an email address that you check regularly. Reason being because there will be a confirmation email that will be sent to that address the moment you click the blue box that indicates send confirmation email. So this is a sample of the confirmation email that a person will receive. And if you notice that in the confirmation email address, there's a link that you would actually need to click in order to continue to create your account. So just ensure that you check this email because there is a timeline on, seems to be an expiry duration on when that link will be active. So once you have done that, and once you click on the link, you will be directed to this particular page to complete the process of creating your account. So you already have your email address indicated there. So all you need to do is just add on your password to confirm your password, and then you'll be almost done with creating your account. Okay, and that is the last step in order for you to create an account. And once you log in, you'll be able to see this screen where it highlights to you all the sections of the online application that you will need to complete. And of course, the status on your right-hand side, as you see, is all red. It's because that goes to show that an individual hasn't commenced that part of the application. So roughly, there are about 16 or 17 sections that you will need to go through and you need to complete before you submit your application. So just to give you a brief rundown about what each section is about. So in terms of the first section, all right, is the application information section. So under this, basically, you will just need to provide general information on the application, as well as there will be a part for you to review and acknowledge an eligibility criteria. So that is what you need to do in terms of the first section, all right? Moving along to the second section is also general information where you will need to provide things like your name, date of birth, country of citizenship, and so on. Okay, now once you do that, the second section is pretty straightforward as well, giving a valid and detailed phone number, email, as well as address information. Now just ensure that these contact informations that you are putting in, or all the information, even though it's general information that you're stating, ensure that it's correct because we will use this information to reach out to you. Okay, now moving along, the following section would be more on you providing information on your current teaching assignments, which comes under the teaching disciplines. So the information that comes after here will be more related to your background as well as your school. Now, for school information, what will be asked here is your current teaching position and also the demographics or the makeup of your school. So please give us that information as much as possible. So it would be so much more easier for us to look through in terms of the demographics of your school. Okay. The next section is background consideration. If you have, or if any participant has any previous international experiences before, or if you happen to have joined any other exchange programs before, if you're applying for any others, this is the section that you will actually have to put in this information. All right. And if you have traveled anywhere before that has got professional travel, the following section would be providing information on any professional programs that you have participated in. All right. All right, we look at the next few sections. So in terms of educational background, this is very straightforward, providing us with the history of your educational background. The next one is providing us your history of your work, and that will be work history that we would ask for the past 5 years. All right. Moving more for teachers, we would also like to know your teaching schedules. So under the teaching schedule sections, we would want you to provide us information on the list of subjects that you are teaching for the current academic year. All right. If let's just say that you, if you have your new academic year that is coming, if you have your new subjects lined up, if they're not much difference, you can also include, so long that we have or we know what are the subjects that you're teaching, what are the hours that you're teaching as well, okay? So if you can provide us with more information, that will be very helpful. Under the following section, the educational, this is where we would want you to provide information regarding any professional activities, experiences you have, and any accomplishments. We would also want to hear from you, not just on your academic at work, but any accomplishments and any experiences that you have had. Okay. Moving along, which is also one important part of it as well, of the application, is just the statement of purpose. Now, this is where you would actually be able to explain yourself better to the I would say the people who are going to review your applications, because, or the selection committee, because you are going to be, this is where they'll be able to understand you on your desire to participate in the program. Now, why do you think that this program, why do you think that you are a suitable candidate to be joining this program? So as much as information as you include in your statement of purpose, that is so much better. In terms of planning for answers in statement purpose as well, you are more welcome than to always look through the questions plan your answers accordingly before you decide to actually put in that information in your application. All right. Um, and the next following sections is more related to, as I mentioned, special I would say special gender cohorts. Either it's a gender cohort, media literacy cohort, or one more that we have is in terms of educational cohort. So if you are indicating or if you would like to be interested to join any one of these cohorts, please indicate your interest and go through the questions that they have asked for the specific cohort that you would like your application to be considered for. Okay. The additional cohort is for the environmental education cohort. So we have three types of cohort, right? Okay, so moving to the last few sections of the application, and there will be two types of forms that you will need to submit when you complete your application. One would be the institutional support reference form, and the other is a leave approval form. Now, there is a slight difference. The institutional support reference form, this needs to be completed by a supervisor, and the leave approval form needs to be completed by the school principal. So I just want to let you know that your application must include these two forms. All right. Now, the forms actually, both the forms needs to be signed so basically you have to download the form and get an ink signature. All right. Electronic signatures are not accepted. So please ensure that when your principal or supervisor is filling in the form, number one, the form must be filled up in English. Number two, it is signed using ink. And number three, for anyone or any information that they are filling up, just ensure that there is clarity in terms of like when they are writing, so that when you scan through and you attach it with your application, we are able to actually read the information that is put in the form. Okay, there is a size that you cannot exceed. So just take note that for each form that you're submitting, it cannot exceed 4 MB. All right. And lastly, there is a section on supplemental documents, and this is where you will need to upload any additional documents in terms of your resume, passport, and so on. Okay. All right. Lastly, we look at what the timeline is for the program. So the application opened early January, and the application will close on March 15th. So for those of you who haven't started your application, please do so. And around April 2025 is when we will be shortlisting. So from March to April, we will be shortlisting candidates, and sometime in April is when the interviews will be conducted. For those shortlisted candidates, we will be providing you with TOEFL vouchers. So in May 2025, ideally, is when you will be required to take your TOEFL examinations. Finalists will be notified of their candidacy status sometime in August 2025. Now, whether there is, as you know, there are two cohorts. We have the spring as well as the fall cohort. So in terms of documentation, we will be requesting documentations by September for those who are either going in the spring as fall as well. So if you're looking for the start dates, sometime around late January to mid-March 2026 is when is the program duration for the spring, and the fall cohort will normally be sometime around September to late October 2026. Okay. And lastly, before I start the sharing session, if you need help with your application, I'm very happy to know that we have alumni. We have state alumni here that are ready to assist you with your applications, available to answer any of your questions, and also to provide guidance for you to complete through your application. Please feel free. You can reach them directly via email for support. And these names of our alumni are basically available on our TEA website. And we will also be sharing this information with you in the chat box during the session. So please feel free to take note and to reach out to them. Yes, so if you require any assistance besides our alumni, if you feel, please feel free to reach out to us here at BC as well, and we'll be more than be happy to assist you. Okay. With this, I would like to move on to our sharing session. I'm happy that we have two very esteemed alumni joining us today. I would like to invite Miss Daphne and Miss Ilya to please come on screen. Uh, to actually, we will then start the sharing session. I would like to say thank you so much for taking the time joining us for this session today. So I will have few questions. I think I would like to start the first question by, to Daphne. Um, don't mind if you can let us know what basically inspired you, or what made you to decide to apply. I mean, you're an alum that just recently came back. So what made you decide to apply for the TEA program?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for that question. One of the main reasons why I applied for the program was you hear about people going on Fulbright, right? And you hear about this, like, it sounds too good to be true, right? Like an all expenses paid program to learn overseas, to benefit from the US government to pay for us to be there and everything. And so one of the things that I thought was, I'll give it a go. I'm pretty sure it's not a scam. So, and the main thing being, the main reason for me applying is I wanted to put myself out of this comfortable box that I've been living in as a teacher. Because after several years of service, you end up thinking that you know everything when you actually don't. So I felt that it was time to get myself out of this comfort zone and become a student again and learn not just in a university environment, but actually in a whole immersive cultural environment as well. So that was the main reason for my application. And I'm glad I was approved for this. It was a life-changing event for me. Thank you.
Indeed, definitely. We always hear from participants and alumni that have actually came back from the program that it's truly a life-changing experience. And I'm glad that, you were able to join us and share with us share with us more on how the journey has been for you. My next question would be, for Ilya. I mean, Ilya, you went on this program a few years back. That was probably 2020, 2021. So upon like returning, I would say that has been like maybe about 4 to 5 years. How has this program or the TEA program influenced you in your career?
All right. Well, so I went back in September 2020, and it has been like almost more, I think around 4 years, right? So coming back from the program, some things changed in the way that first when you go there, you kind of like reset whatever you have in a way, because especially after you've been teaching. I've been teaching for like 7 years, and I went onto the program, and you become more reflective, a very reflective practitioner. You return back to like whatever you've done during your university years. It kind of like brings you back to the loop of like being more, and also in terms of your motivation and things that for the past 4 years I've been doing more trainings with teachers in my district, doing workshops. You get more ideas coming back from the States, not only from the program itself, but also from the network that you built. Because when we go there, you're the only, basically, you're gonna be the only person from Malaysia, and then you have like all these other teachers from around the world, and then you get all this, the network that you have. You get to build connection, and And that is, I think, the most valuable part when you bring it back, when you return to Malaysia and you have all these people, as your connection, and you can discuss so many things. You can do programs. I did like pen pal programs. I did virtual exchange programs with my friends, like from, say, Bolivia, Belarus. And it's a great opportunity for not only for the teacher, for us, but also for the students as well. So yeah, that's kind of like what's been happening for the past 4 years after coming back from the States.
Oh, that's really interesting to hear. So basically, the kind of changes that you made was not only restricted, I would say, in your school environment, but it was also international connections that you maintain and you build and you continue to grow from the after coming back from the T program. And of course, these are connections that you made when you went on the program, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, so I mean, the floor is open to any questions. If any participants have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box, and we will answer your questions as we go along. So while waiting for anyone who has any questions, I think I have got one question for you, Ilya, before I ask Daphne. What what advice would you give or for anyone who is considering to apply for the T program? Like you have gone 4 years now. So taking into account that now you have came back and when at point of time when you are applying, what would be the kind of information, best advice that you can share and give?
I guess it'll be, just go for it, because you never know, what will happen next. I know, and when I kind of promote this program to like others, people are very intimidated with the program. Fulbright is such a big name. And people are like, they're really not confident to like apply to the program and really need the push. So my advice would be just to go for it. Just apply to it. Don't be intimidated with like especially like teachers from other subjects, with the language, I would say. Yeah, and be flexible and very adaptable with your expectation and with the program, because the way the T program is conducted is very different from, it's very hands-on, one. Number two, it differs from university to university. I bet Daphne's experience in, I think you went to Massachusetts, is different than what I had in Claremont. So you have to be very flexible with things. But ultimately, in terms of applying, just go for it, because I know like so many people started and did not finish. Everyone's busy. We just need a bit of the push to complete the application, and with the essays that is needed for the application, be honest with yourself. Be honest with the panel as well, while answering the all the essays and things asked. So yeah.
Thank you. Zim, do you have anything to add?
No, not about that, but we have questions coming in for the alumni.
Yes, we do, and I'm glad. Okay, so we have one question. The first question is from Noor Nazrina. I think this is something that I can answer. She said, "This coming March, it will be 3 years of service in my government school. Can I apply for this program?" Yes, Nazrina, you definitely can apply for this program as long as at point of application you already have the 3 years of service. You can definitely qualify and apply for this program. Right. Okay, so we've got a follow-on question, which is from Pravina. She said, I've taught in a government school for 3 years. In total, there is teaching 13 years of teaching experience. Which experience do you see? Okay, just a quick question, Pravina, if you're able to share a little bit more information. In terms of government school, you've mentioned here 3 years, but you have a total of 13. Can you give me information like your 10 years of work experience you were teaching in which school? But just to answer your question, you do have the minimum of 3 years work experience where in a government school is concerned. So in terms of basic minimum qualification to apply for this program or minimum experience needed, you do have the experience to apply for it. Yes, Zim, anything you want to add?
Yes. So the T program is open for secondary school teachers coming from government and private schools, so long the schools are serving primarily Malaysian students. So not limited to just government school teachers, but also private schools serving Malaysian.
Thanks, Zim. Okay. So maybe this is something, okay, I've got one question from Aina B. Maybe the alumni can join in as well. Okay. I would like to ask regarding an official letter from KPM. Now, for matters that involve actions or support from our head of department, what is the proper procedure for obtaining a relevant letter or where I can access? Should it be through the official KPM portal or do I need to refer directly to PPD or JPN? Maybe Daphne and Ilya, you can also, because you went through the leave application process, so some parts of it you would have came across the need to have this type of steps done. Could you shed a bit of light on this?
Can I share? Because with the most recent experience here, I guess, if you don't mind, Ilya. So when you apply for the Fulbright program, so there's the, as what was shared earlier, there are two forms that you have to fill up and get signed by your, I'll use a Malay term here, like Ketua Jabatan, right? Our principal. So from there should be like a proper conversation there with your principal about whether they allow you to be away for 6 weeks. So there's that signature done, and then you submit your application, and if all goes well and you get approved for the program, you get chosen for the program, you do need to apply for kebenaran bertugas di luar negara from MOE. It has to be done, your application has to be done 21 days before your departure date. And from there, it's all a bunch of letters that go back and forth between you and KPM, basically. Of course, there's a certain procedure that you have to follow. You have to abide by the steps of PPD, referring up to JPN, and JPN referring up to MOE. In my circumstance, my letter from the offer letter from the university that I was going to be sent to, the offer letter came quite late, less than 21 days of before the departure date. So I had to speed things up, and unfortunately, I had to cut off certain steps. Like I had to bypass PPD, bypass JPN, and immediately get in touch with MOE. The unit of that would be, let me see, I have the name here.
Is it Bagian
It's
Pentadbiran
the
Guru?
Unit Komunikasi Hubungan Antarabangsa. So that would be the pegawai meja from there would be able to assist you. And I had amazing help from the person in charge. Regardless of the situation I had, that it was very, very short notice, I managed to get approval for leave for tugas rasmi di luar negara. Maybe Ilya might have a different circumstance that you'd like to share, or is that similar?
Mine was through Bahagian Professionalisme Guru, and it was like, if I'm not mistaken, mine was, that, and it was for cuti kursus jangka masa pendek. So kind slightly different, but at the end of the day, it will be after you got your offer from Fulbright. we will, the alum will help and then, refer you to the pegawai major that we've dealt with before. But my experience was like back in 2020, so kind of outdated 4 years ago. So yeah.
And I can see the most important question here is if the leave is with pay or without. Good news, gaji masih jalan, so
Yes.
no problem there. Yeah, that was one of the factors I was very worried about, but no,
Yeah.
pay still goes on. Yeah.
Certain countries actually, doesn't give the pay. You don't get paid for going for the program, but Malaysia, alhamdulillah, we still got our pay. So full pay, including all the allowance and stuff, not only gaji pokok. Okay.
I'm sure that is very useful information to anybody who is deciding to probably ask any additional questions if the type of pay was cuti bergaji or not. I do also would like to inform you that once you are shortlisted for this program or once you're selected for this program, in terms of the leave application process, do not worry. Here at MACEE, we will also guide you. In addition, we will also connect you with our alumni, like we have on the call today, to be able to guide you through the process. So basically, it's not just at the beginning of the process on what are the kinds of forms that you will need to obtain, what are the kind of people in MOE or the point of contact that you will actually need to get in touch with. So what we will do is that we will put you through alumni that will basically kind of like give you the whole gist or the rundown of the entire process. And they are, I would say, very approachable, that even if you get stuck in anywhere and if you have any questions that you are halfway in the process, they will also be able to guide you through. All right. We do have another few more minutes. If you have any more additional questions, please feel free to, throw in your questions at the chat box. I think in terms of like, definitely you just came back recently. What are the most memorable experience that you have that when you were on the T program?
So one of I think the most memorable part of my experience there was actually being able to, because I'm an art lover, so I love going to museums and to look at pieces of art and everything. And it was a dream come true for me to be able to see the actual paintings that I grew up knowing and loving. So one of them was the highlight of mine was seeing Van Gogh's Starry Night at the Metropolitan, the Met in New York. I had free time. We for the participants that went to UMass Lowell, we were given several days off that we could plan whatever excursion that we wanted to do. So it was a fun trip for me and my roommate to just put ourselves out there and just head to New York and achieve a dream come true, really. So I know it might sound trivial to some, especially people who might not love art as much as I do, but when I saw that painting, I cried. I literally cried seeing that piece of art, because I grew up knowing about these things, but never actually thinking that I could actually see this in real life, and seeing things like actually seeing the Statue of Liberty, actually understanding American culture, actually being out of Malaysia and being so far away from home. And never in a million years would I have thought that I'd be able to do this, because it's not a feasible thing financially to be in America for so long. It's not even a feasible thing financially for me to continue my studies in Malaysia. And yet here I was as a representative, not just from Malaysia, but from Malaysian Borneo, as a rep from Sabah, to be an indigenous representative, to actually stand in front of other people and say, I'm Malaysian, and people coming back to me and saying, oh, we don't look Malaysian. But actually, well, I am, because Malaysia has so many different ethnic groups. And here I am as an indigenous person, full of pride to be a representative for Malaysia. So yeah, that's my thing.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think Z probably has got something to add.
No, there are three questions that came in for our alumni. The first question open to both Daphne and Elia. Based on both your experiences, is it compulsory for candidates to be able to speak English fluently because some of the teachers applying or going for the program is not English teacher.
Well, I can share my experience very quickly before Ilya gives his that there were several participants during my in my cohort that they might not have been able to speak English as fluently as you would think it to be. I think so long as you score enough points on the TOEFL examination, it should be fine. So that should allay your fears there. Yeah.
Ilya, anything to add on in terms of English?
Yes. So again, based on the TOEFL score, I would say that if you manage to achieve that TOEFL score, it's good enough. Also, when I was there, so for my uni, we were split into two groups, because one is for language teaching and the other group was for humanities. So geography teachers, history teachers, and there's actually there's obviously difference in terms of the fluency level, but as long as you can communicate in not in a, I would say, in a simple way to deliver your ideas, and definitely the lecturers will take into consideration having people from different backgrounds, from different countries, with different level of fluency, and it should be okay from my experience, and also like from what I witnessed when I was there, especially for the non-English language teachers group. So yeah, you'll be fine.
All right, thank you for that. The next question. Any tips in terms of filling in the application as well as the interview?
I think for this, what we will have is I'm very happy to say that follow on from this info sessions, we are having two more additional info sessions which are led by alumni, which will cover the basic structure about the application, and they will be covering on parts of the application, which will be how do you fill up, or what are the things that you need to include in terms of your statement of purpose. And the other info session we'll be looking at is covering on the forms that you will have to fill up in terms of like how Daphne mentioned, the leave application form, the institutional support reference form. So, the alumni will be happy to give you more information in those sessions. So I really hope that the upcoming info sessions will be useful, and we encourage you to join. This information we will relay over to you when we share with you the recording for today's info session. So just gear up to join those sessions, and you'll be able to have more tips on how to proceed in filling up your application.
And to take on the question on tips for interview, that I can share. Just be your authentic self. I think both alumni have actually mentioned be yourself, be truthful in even in your application forms, including the interview as well. No one knows you better than yourself. We don't ask strict question. There's no EQ, IQ question during interview. It's mostly on yourself, why the program, what you hope to achieve, the takeaway, and what you plan to do post-program. These are usually the questions that we ask in interview. Okay, few more questions for the alumni. Can you share with us? Yeah, sorry, Ilya.
Can I add that a little bit about the when you say about authentic, and when or some of the questions like what you plan to do of what you have done. Sometimes we think about big things. Things like at state level, at national level, at district level, but actually even with like things that you've done within your school and community, you can mention that. And so don't only think about like things that you feel like it's big. No, it's not. It's actually something that you feel like is more like impactful even in your small community, even in your school. So you can mention all those things as well.
Definitely go for it.
Yeah, I'd like to, well, there's enough tips given by Ilya for the actual interview, but for me, for the application, the actual essays that you have to answer, I'd like to give the biggest tip that I can give you is don't wait till the last minute. Don't wait till the last day, because there are so many questions. I I procrastinated and I waited till the last day until I got pushed into, starting the application process. And that at that point, I was almost in tears, honestly, thinking like, I'll never going to get this done in time. And then when I clicked next and next and next and arrived at the form that I had to get the principal signature, I almost like threw my hands in the air thinking, I'll never get this done. But I managed to get it done, luckily. In retrospect, if I started earlier, I think I would have been a bit more clearer in my answers. But thankfully, the gods of application processes shined upon me and allowed me a chance at going to the US, regardless of the crazy answers that I came up with. So please, my takeaway for this is just start a bit earlier. Have some time to look at the questions, and then you can go back and think about what you want to say. And as what Ilya said, it doesn't have to be big answers. Like she said, that it could be something that you've done in the classroom. And don't forget to sell yourself, because it's not just about being authentic. It's also about saying you deserve it. You deserve being in the Fulbright program. Tell the interviewers why you deserve to be here, So that's from me.
Great tips. I think we will take on one last question, and the rest can actually email us. Lina has shared our email address earlier. Okay, so the last question to the both of you. Can you share some of the memorable projects or teaching activities you have conducted during the TEA program? Who wants to go first?
Well, I guess I'll start first, coming from a more recent cohort. One of the most memorable things I did, because I went to UMass, University of Massachusetts Lowell, and we were the gender cohort. We did gender studies. And one of the most memorable things I did was an eye-opening, it wasn't a project, it was just an experience in the classroom that I didn't realize that I had inherent bias in the way that I conducted myself as a teacher. And I thought that I was the most fair person in the world, but going there and like opening your eyes and realizing that, there's inherent bias in all of us, and thinking that boys can do certain things better and girls are better at other things. And I accidentally pushed my bias into my teaching. So I've learned to reprogram myself and to be a bit more self-aware. So it's too many to mention here, but the idea is that I've learned to be a better teacher. And yeah, so to answer that second part of the question, the program that I chose was gender studies. Yeah, that's from me. Moving on to Ilya.
So I did the general cohort. And one of the teaching activities that I still remember until now is from the humanizing technology class, where we did an opening circle and a closing circle. It's basically acknowledging each learner in the classroom. And when you've been teaching for like 5, 6, 7 years, sometimes you go into the class and you just teach, and then it rarely you have time for feedback. When what happened in that class was, throughout the 6 weeks of classes, we did that every single day with that particular lecturer, and it gave a very huge impact in a way that, how to say, it makes me reflect on my own practices, because one of the things about me is that I struggle to build rapport with my kids, and it's always more on like teaching, you're delivering stuff rather than building connection, and that very small, I think, but significant activity done in the classroom every single day really give a big impact to me, and I try to implement it in my own classroom. So yeah, other teaching activities, we did practicum, normal stuff, a lot of cultural things going on. We went to schools, we went to primary school for like 2 times, and then I did a batik painting activity with the kids, which was so fun, super fun. But for my practicum project, I did activities on juvenile justice with a co-teacher. So yeah.
Okay, so with this, I think it comes an end to our session today. Firstly, I would like to take this big opportunity to thank our alumni, Ilya and Daphne, for taking the time to join us on the call today. We have shared our email address. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us. And also, we have also shared with you the link where you can actually click to get connected with a state alum. Please follow us as well on social media. We have given all the information there. Feel free to drop us any questions or any concerns you have, and we will definitely help you. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us. We hope we found the session to be very informative. And we will see you. And if you haven't started your applications, please do so as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Take care. Selamat petang and bye.